Greetings, friends, and welcome to Enigma Night Gaming. My name is Liara, and I will be your guide in today's adventure. Today, we're playing the Great Ace Attorney Chronicles, and in today's episode, we must sway the jurors' minds back to our side, because right now, they all have declared guilty for Sasaki-san. So, can we do it? Let's hop in and find out. The defense's rebuttal. The victim may not be well off, but he's a nobleman, and straight up, there's no reason to doubt the man. Well, I do declare the good gentleman has no reason to lie. In fact, I think he's rather splendid. Just look at the accused by comparison. He's Japanese, stoops all the while, and has a mustache. Very fishy. Well, there's no evidence to suggest the gangling actor is a fraudsman. For now, at least. I kind of wonder if we need to pit her against the second lady. I'm kind of thinking that might be it. But let's go through it once just to refresh our memory and see what everyone else has to say. I really don't care, I just need this trial to end quickly. 3 hours of missing time is nothing when you reach my age, you know? Nothing at all. We could press them all, too. That's something we could do. I just noticed we can press every single one of them. I don't know if we did that last time or not. The key to summation examinations is identifying contradictions between jurors' statements, Mr. Naruhodo. Right, and once I found 2 jurors whose statements can't coexist, I need to pit those jurors against each other. Then hopefully, when they see what they're saying doesn't make sense, they'll change their leaning. Yes, and if you're able to change the minds of a majority of the jurors, the trial will continue. But conversely, if you're unable to do that, the judge will declare the trial over and move to adjudication. And I can't let that happen. Somehow or other, I have to turn this trial around. Alright, so let's press all of them this time through just to see. The victim may not be well off, but he's a nobleman, and straight up, there's no reason to doubt the man. Hold it! Well, there are plenty of people in London who seem noble but poor. Couldn't some of them also be liars? I've no doubt about it. Like that shaky client of yours, for example? Absolutely not. Mr. Natsumi is no liar. Look, the point is, the only thing that passed the victim's lips that night was that Japanese man's tea. When you take the gas man's testimony into account as well, the truth couldn't be any clearer. Well, that's alarmingly logical. But let me be frank here, I'm a gentleman with a gentleman's values. If it turns out that the old Shakespearean chum is a rotten liar after all, I'd gladly change my decision about the defendant. And I'm sure my fellow gentlemen on the jury would do the same. Isn't that right? Well, yes, perhaps, though I don't see it happening. Eh? What's that? Elderly gent on the end here, you know. You have to speak up. Look, I really don't care about all this nonsense. I just need this trial to be over. How many gentlemen do we actually have on the jury, then? Alright, sir. I may hold you to that. Don't forget what you said. Humph. Alright, if you can show me that the victim is a liar, I'll reconsider my position. Hey, Toad, welcome in. Oh, I do declare the good gentleman has no reason to lie. In fact, I think he's rather splendid. Hold it! Are you saying you believe the man to be trustworthy because he's rather splendid? No, that's not what I said. The point is, the man is the victim here. What reason would he have to lie? And yes, he is rather splendid. So you say, yet again. Meanwhile, the man who stands accused behaves so suspiciously it's exhausting to look at him. I'm afraid he's not splendid at all. Splendid logic there, madam. Thank you so much. Just look at the accused by comparison. He's Japanese, stoops all the while, and has a mustache. Very fishy. Hold it! No, no, no. Not one of those things is a reason to find the man guilty. But he is fishy. There's no point dancing around the fact. He's Japanese, has a mustache, and he stoops. You see, you arrive at the conclusion in just 3 steps. 3 steps, like a waltz, in fact. You know, the more I think about it, the more this trial seems like a dance. You seem to be several steps ahead of yourself, though, and you're on the wrong foot. No, there's nothing but circumstantial evidence here. There's no actual proof of the defendant's guilt. But the victim's versions of events is backed up by what the big chin man next to him says, isn't it? 1, he saw the Japanese man there. 2, he saw no one else. And 3, he saw the Japanese man there. Oh. That's another 3 steps. All this really does seem more and more like a waltz, doesn't it? Right. And the prosecution will waltz its way to victory if I let you speak much more. There's no evidence to suggest the gangling actor is a fraudsman, for now at least.
Hold it!
A fraudsman? What do you mean by that, madam? It really is a most tiresome problem for the company. Most irritating. We can be absolutely certain that a customer is stealing from us, but without hard evidence, we can't even threaten to take action for fear of being sued. I'm sorry, you've lost me a little there. Who are you? I'm the wife of Augustus Altamont, owner of the Altamont Gas Company. Good gracious, Altamont Gas, you say? Gas is the future of energy in this country and around the globe, but proper handling is essential. As I'm sure our employee from the East End branch office would be the first to agree. Absolutely, Lady Quimby. Gotta be used properly. Ultimate gas is the best in the world, of course. I think we may have solved the mystery of the bow from earlier, Mr. Naruto. Right. He bowed in deference to his employer's wife, did he? So would I be right in assuming that the reason Mr. Meterman was watching what Mr. Shamspare was up to in his room? I'm afraid there's no end to the lengths the population of the East End will go to in order to steal our gas. So I really have no choice when the company identifies somebody as a possible fraudsman, but to dispatch a worker to watch the suspect day and night. We're very thorough in our investigations. So you mean Mr. Shamspare is... I wouldn't come out and say it in public, but you can finish that sentence with a grubby little gas thief. You have noticed the public gallery in here, haven't you? The eye of man hath not heard, the ear of man hath not seen. Faith, wouldst thou wound me with thy words, were I to let them penetrate the skin? But seraphs hear not insults, only choirs of angels in song. We may not have evidence yet, but my workers won't stop buzzing around you until they find it. And when they do, you'll find yourself blasted back to your angelic heights in an ultimate gas explosion. So Mr. Shamspare has been stealing gas. I wonder, Juror number 4, if you wouldn't mind adding that information to your statement. My pleasure. Was it the bit about ripping that thief apart you enjoyed? A little before that part about abject violence, if it's not too much trouble. Yes, of course. This could be it. This could shift the balance. The victim puts on a fine performance, but in reality, he's a common thief of my company's gas. Okay, so now we can pit her. If you can show me that the victim's a liar, let's see, what would it be? Hers is, he has no reason to lie. In fact, I think he's rather splendid. Which one would it be? So we're gonna pit her against him and see how it goes. So we're going to show that he's a liar, right?
Objection!
Those two statements clearly contradict each other. Gracious, to whose statements do you refer, counsel? Juror number 1. What are you yelling about, lad? I presume you've heard juror number 4's statement, made by the wife of the owner of the Altamont gas. Well, yes. The victim, who claimed to be a noble, straight-up man, in fact, turns out to be a common thief. So the good lady says, but there's no evidence, is there? You and I both heard them say as much. It's true, we don't have evidence as such just yet. But the claims aren't baseless, you know. What? You heard me, seeing as his operation has already been compromised. I would suggest that the court hears testimony from our East End branch office employee over there. I'll do whatever you say, my lady. Gasman's honor. He bows again. Juror number 1, you say you're a man of your word. If I could show that Mr. Shamspeare was a liar, you assured me that you would reconsider your decision about the defendant's guilt. Yes, I did say that. And as a man of honor, I'll hold to it. As I'm sure the other gentlemen of the jury will. Me? Oh, well, yes. Now that we found out the man's a liar, perhaps we ought to consider the matter further. Well, if I'm perfectly honest, I haven't heard half of what you've all been saying. So if this means you'll recap a few points, that would suit me down to the ground. Oh no, I'm not having any part of this. I want this trial over and done with. In that case, I shall change my leaning. So, Mr. William Shamspeare, if that is your real name, we of the jury demand to know exactly what kind of man you really are. Alright. So now the trial will continue. That's 4 jurors, 4 for not guilty. Yes, Mr. Naruto. Victory! Alright. Order! Order! Well, this is quite extraordinary, I must say. As a result of the defense's summation examination, the jury's leaning has changed. Imagine that! Never seen it happen before. So weird. Now only 2 jurors say guilty, whilst 4 say not guilty. I therefore declare this court to be in a state of disaccord, and order the trial to continue. Oh boy, oh boy. He's like, not happy. You have spoilt the bouquet, Mr. Shamspeare. The ladies and gentlemen of the jury now find they are unable to trust you, the victim. He's just like, I'm not here. But you gods will give us some faults to make us men. So God mend me, I do swear. This gas man speaketh that which concerned him most. Naught but gas, naught but thin air. Aye, it burneth bright a while, but it hath no substance, and it doth reek foul. Oi, what did you say? Do I take it, Mr. Shamspeare, that you deny the allegations of gas thievery? Most heartily, my lord, hast thou forgot? I am as a seraph, an angel, noble of mind, sweet of nature, and verily honest of heart. You flowery-mouthed pompous beanpole! just because I haven't got the evidence yet. Mr. Shamspear, if, in fact, you are not noble of mind, sweet of nature, or honest of heart, if you are a liar, then your testimony should have no sway in this courtroom. Oh boy. It is my considered opinion that at the present time no other possible culprit of this crime has been identified. All testimony heard by the court thus far heavily implicates the defendant. In short, it would not be unreasonable at this stage for me to rule on this case.
Oh no!
However, in light of the fact that the jury has expressed concern about the fidelity of this witness, I believe it would be inappropriate for this court not to pursue the point further.
Objection!
I assure you, my lord, that would be a waste of the court's time. The gas in this case are unrelated. Juror number 4. Yes? Did you say before that although you had no hard evidence to prove this man has been stealing gas, you have strong grounds for suspecting him? Well, that's right, we do, don't we, worker? Absolutely, Lady Quimby. Gasman's honor. Very well then, we will hear your testimony now. You will tell the court precisely why you believe the victim, Mr. William Shamspear, has been stealing gas. Yes, my lord, it'll be my pleasure. On the ultimate gas, if I may, my lord. Go ahead, madam. This worker's testimony may have a significant bearing on the good name of my husband's company. Therefore, I should like to take the stand alongside him in a supervisory role, if you wouldn't mind. Oh, yeah, sweet as honey. Yeah. Very well, as an exception, I shall honor your request. Thank you, my lord. You will wait till the boss gives you an earful. Oh, it's gonna sting, you mark my words. So, you will both testify before the court on the subject of the illegal consumption of the Altamont Gas Company's fuel. Yes, is that clear, my good man? Clear as Altamont gas, my lady, which is the clearest in the world. Oh boy. The bow again. Do you think the gas has gone to his head, Mrs. Sato?
I think the man is just a very dedicated employee, Mr. Naruhodo.
Very dedicated indeed. Alright, the Ultimate Gas Company's investigation. Let's find out what we learn. I'm proud to be the company's East End branch investigator and meter money collection agent. Ultimate gas meters accept threepenny bits, each coin giving customers about 2 hours of gorgeous gas.
And yet, the meter in Mr. Shamspear's room didn't have a single coin in it.
And the meter doesn't appear to have been tampered with, though, and the gas collection agent has the only key. Somehow he's using all the flaming gas he wants without paying a penny. If that's not thieving, what is? I mean, they've got a good point. Let's see what Menzies has to say. Pray, forgive the discourtesy. The irrelevance of this testimony caused me to turn to my hallowed chalice. What do you mean by that? Remarked Lord Van Zeeks. Did the moustache Nipponese poison the gangling excuse for an actor, or didn't he? That is all that should concern this court, and yet now we must listen to this abhorrence. But the thing is there's still the question of whether he did something to himself, or I still think it's related to gas, like maybe he's gotten a gas leak and he passed out from that, maybe.
Clearly, what separates the vast British Empire and your Eastern Island nation is more than geographical distance.
But this could turn out to be crucial testimony. The cross-examination must go ahead.
Do what you will. Lord Van Zeeks appears to be in a violent mood.
Yes, he does.
An attempted poisoning and an instance of gas theft with no supporting evidence. It's true that they would appear completely unrelated at first glance, but I wonder, the truth tends to be buried in the most unusual places, and the first step in uncovering it will be to establish just who and what this man really is.
Exactly. He's like a big ol' liar. All right, time for the examination. I'm proud to be the Meterman's East End branch investigator and meter money collection agent.
Hold it!
So, does that mean you enter people's houses in order to empty their gas meters? That I do. Have to try to catch people when they're in, then I ask permission to come inside and do my business. Does that mean you've been into Mr. Natsume's room before, as well as that of Mr. Shamspeare? Well, now, interested, you should bring that up, because I couldn't believe how little money was in his meter. I mean, how the pair of them survived the winter is beyond me, it really is.
Knowing Mr. Natsume, he probably spends all his gas money on books.
And then when he's finished reading them, he probably burns them for warmth. You will kindly reiterate your statement about the gas meters themselves, Mr. Meterman. Not much to say, really, but as you wish. Altamont gas meters accept threepenny bits, each coin giving customers about 2 hours of gorgeous gas. So all London houses that have a gas supply are fitted with these gas meters, are they?
The latest model, the height of technology developed by our company, Altamont Gas. And anyone who uses our gas will have one of these meters in their property, yes.
So if a 3-pence coin gives 2 hours of gas, most people would use about 3 coins in a night. I'll bet more than that usually, if they have both gas lights and a gas stove, that is. Thinking about it, Soseki-san doesn't have a fireplace in that room of his, does he?
Some people still choose to use candles, of course, and only have gas for heating. Ah, yes, I do remember seeing candles in Mr. Natsume's room, actually.
And how does the money in the meter get back to you at the gas company? Every 3 days, gasmen like me visit properties on the gas supply and empty the meter of coins.
I must say, the design and manufacture of the new meter cost the company an awful lot of money. But happily, it did put a stop to people not paying their dues, for the most part.
Because they have to pay in advance, you mean?
Yes, exactly right. And yet, the meter in Mr. Shamspeare's room didn't have a single coin in it.
Out of interest, how long has this been going on? Weeks and weeks. He has been pinching gas off us for ages. And you've examined the meter in Mr. Shamspeare's room, I take it?
Naturally, we took it off the wall and went over it with a fine-tooth comb. And found nothing suspicious at all, I presume. No, I'm afraid we didn't. Which is exactly why I demanded a new type of meter to be produced. One with an indestructible lock, the Shamspare Special.
And that sounds like it would have cost an awful lot of 3-penny pieces.
But even after all that, the rascal's meter was still empty.
I'll never forget the humiliation. When I opened up the money box and found it bare. You what? I said. You what? And the look on his face, that smarmy smile of his. He pulled the meter straight off the wall and took it back to the office. But you know what? Nothing. Not a trace of it being jimmied open anywhere. Not a single sign. And what's happening to my salary as a result? Down by 3 shillings a day, that's what. A life-threatening situation in a number of ways. Incidentally, what became of that meter? Nothing became of it. I've still got it. Oh. Right here. I guess we're gonna get to see it as evidence. No wonder they call you the meter man. I think it would be prudent for the court to sequester this item while the trial is ongoing. Alright, so we've got it disperses gas for a set time. After a coin is inserted, it sports a very strong lock developed especially with Mr. Shamspeare in mind. Definitely. Although at first glance, there doesn't appear to be anything unusual about it. Let's move this along, shall we? Continue with your testimony. Although I would say it has as much value as the contents of that meter. Ugh. My goodness. The meter doesn't appear to have been tampered with, although the collection agent has the only key.
Hold it!
There's only one key for all of your meters?
Well, in truth, there's another key in the company vault at our main office. But even if someone had somehow managed to get a hold of the key, we'd know if the coin box had been opened.
Oh? How?
I came up with a rather clever way to expose any shenanigans as it happens.
Would you care to explain? Well, now, in order to empty a meter, you have to unlock the padlock and remove the cover. But when I close the cover again, I stick a little beeswax seal on it, you see? A seal? Like the sort of thing you'd put on an envelope, you mean? Something like that, yes. Basically, you can't remove the cover again without breaking the seal.
Now, in the case of Mr. Shamspeare's meter, there were no coins inside at all, as I said.
But the seal hadn't been broken either. So that would mean Mr. Shamspeare somehow managed to steal coins from inside the meter without opening it?
It would seem so, but that would be impossible.
I wonder if that's where the mysterious soap came from. Somehow he's using all the flaming gas he wants without paying a penny. If that's not thieving, what is? How do you know that he's been using gas, though? Well, now, since I started investigating this bloke, I've been to his room more than a few times. And on every single occasion, his lamps have been blazing and his stove pounding. It's the middle of winter, and he still turns to me, sweat dripping down his cheeks, and says, "Get thee to a nunnery." Hamlet, indeed. I could wring the bloke's neck. I get all hot under the collar, but still, every time I open up that flaming meter, it's empty. He's robbing me of my salary, too. What's wrong with the world? Where's the justice? How can Mr. Shamspeare possibly be stealing the money? I don't understand. A simple explanation is right before your eyes. What? A toast to you eventually realizing that the gasman could be an accomplice. You what? Good God, eminently plausible indeed.
Well, what do you have to say for yourself?
Oh, please, Lady Quimby, I'm a faithful worker. And besides, if the money us gasman collects doesn't tally with how much gas has been used, you dock our pay by the same amount. So you'd be stealing money only to have the same amount taken from your wages? Clearly that makes no sense.
Perhaps it's a case of losing the battle to win the war?
No, 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 I'm not gonna stop that hornet's nest. If I went stealing from the company, I'd be finished. It would seem there's no evidence to support the claims of thievery made against the victim, because Mr. William Shamspeare is innocent. Pray forgive me if that shatters some illusion my learned Nipponese friend was clearly under. Ugh. Alright, we need to examine that box, I think. I certainly didn't expect to uncover another crime that looks like it's been taking place in the very same room.
According to the testimony, it's only the meter in Mr. Shamspeare's room that's under suspicion. It does seem as though perhaps it has nothing to do with the incident involving Mr. Natsumi.
I know, it does seem that way. But the fact is, since I've been practicing law in England, I feel like I've encountered this at least once already. Cases that are interlinked.
Oh.
It might seem that two cases have nothing to do with one another at first, but in fact, they're intimately connected.
Yes, we have experienced that before, haven't we? I wonder if this is another instance.
Perhaps, but we can't be sure of that yet. If the Altamont Gas Company has been investigating Mr. Shamspeare so earnestly, there must be something to it. But then how has he been managing to steal their gas? Alright, so before we go through the next round of questioning, we're going to look in the court record and see what is with this box. Let's examine it. So let's look at the lock first, obviously. And that's a very sturdy looking padlock, isn't it?
And the money box is sealed with beeswax too.
So if Mr. Sholmes were to get up to any mischief, he'd be found out immediately.
Mr. Naruto, mischief of that kind is not the sort of things that Mr. Sholmes would...
You know you didn't finish that sentence, don't you?
Well, anyway, it's understandable that the gas company would want to safeguard the money that's rightfully theirs.
But it does feel a little over the top, perhaps, doesn't it? Alright, let's look. We got these screws down here. Can you unscrew it? Oh! Oh, what's...
Have you spotted something, Mr. Naruto?
Just here. There's a little hole, do you see?
Goodness, you're right. I wouldn't have noticed.
It's not a very neat hole. Not professionally made, I'd say.
So you think it might have been opened up by Mr. Shamspeare?
Possibly. It seems the people at the Altamont Gas must have missed it.
Well, it certainly seems to go all the way through to the inside.
Yes, but there's no way a coin could fit through there.
That's true, but even so, it seems more than a little suspicious.
Okay. So maybe that'll be something we can present. Let's keep examining it, though. And see what else we can find. If there's anything else to examine. There may not be. So I think that hole was the only thing that we really needed to discover. So there's a tiny hole in his base. So now we need to present this against whichever statement it is that talks about him stealing it, right? Alright. I don't know if it's this statement. Let's just keep looking. Ah, there we go. The meter doesn't appear to have been tampered with, though, and the collection agent has the only key. But it was tampered with. Let's present this.
Objection!
Lady Altamont, I'm afraid to say that this meter clearly does show signs of having been tampered with. What? Get away! I've been over and over that thing. I'm telling you, there's nothing wrong with it. In that case, what do you have to say about the small hole that's been made at the base of the coin box? Oh, what?
You're right, you're quite right. There's a little hole there.
Well, the meters aren't supposed to have that, and none of the others do. In other words, we can assume that Mr. Shamspear secretly opened up this hole himself. Yes, I wouldn't be at all surprised, but why? Yeah, why? I mean, it is tiny. We couldn't get a farthing through that, so I'm guessing he put some kind of wire or something to like maybe pull the coin slot down so that it registers like a coin was put in. That would be my guess. Lady Altamont, I wonder if you could give the court some more details about your meter design? What sort of details? Well, what I'd specifically like to know is how it differentiates coins. How does the meter tell the difference between different coins? What do you mean? Well, for example, if someone were to put in a 1 penny coin, that wouldn't work presumably, would it? No, of course not. So, well, how does the meter know that the coin it's been fed is a threepenny bit? Ah, I see what you're getting at now. The meter tells the coins apart by their shape and size, which includes their thickness. A threepenny bit is about 3/4 of an inch in diameter, you see. Other coins just won't fit. Ah, I see. It's clearly been very well thought out. A witness will amend her formal testimony with that information in case it is pertinent. As you wish, my lord. Okay, so now what do we do? The meter is designed for coins. The exact diameter and thickness of a threepenny bit. Nothing else will fit. Let's look. Oh! I know what it is. I figured it out. Let's look at this. Let's look at this again. Oh, look at this bar of soap. There's a circular depression on this side, about 2 centimeters across. Or 3/4 of an inch. Ah, do you think? We did find this soap at the scene, didn't we? Yes, there were 2 bars. On that little ledge just outside the window. So we took this one. But I'm sure that when we first found it, there was some sort of reddish medallion in the middle there. I remember it clearly. Yes, but there's no sign of it now. Where could it have gone? Alright, so that's what we present to her statement, right? Alright, so...
Objection!
There we go. Let me just confirm something here. If the diameter and thickness were to be correct, the meter would accept any object as if it were a threepenny bit. Is that correct? Yes, that is correct. Well, by something of coincidence, while we were investigating in Mr. Shamspear's room, we found a particular item that matches the dimensions perfectly. Something the same size as a threepenny bit. What was it? The item in question is this. Have you been inhaling gas? That's a bar of soap. It certainly looks nothing like a threepenny bit, I must say. It looks like I'm gonna have to point out exactly what I mean here. What's so important about the soap is this part here. Alright, there we go. You have to turn the soap over to see what I mean. Ah! Are you referring to that round depression in the middle of the soap there? That's right, a depression that's approximately 3/4 of an inch in diameter. Or in other words, almost exactly the same size as a threepenny bit. Get away! Is anyone here present have in their possession a threepenny bit? Quickly now, hand over your coins, ladies and gentlemen. It sounds rather like a highway robbery, doesn't it? The judge is robbing them. Thanks to the kind members of the public in the gallery, I have here a threepenny bit. Now, to see if it fits. My word, it couldn't be more snug. Yes, as I suspected. This, without a doubt, is a vital clue to explain how the Altamont Gas Company is being defrauded. Well, I don't believe it. She looks like a bee in her outfit. So, your assertion amounts to what? That some inferior bar of soap has a tentative connection to the theft of gas? Yes! The depression in the soap was clearly made by a threepenny bit. I must concur, at least, that pushing a coin with some force into a poor quality bar of soap such as this is a remarkably simple way of replicating the coin's shape. And then you can use, well, some melted wax or something to pour into the mold. You can make fake coins in no time. Exactly. Well, we're gonna have to figure out some kind of substance that melted at room temperature, right? And disappeared, like... I mean, I guess that could be wax, but this brings all the pieces of the puzzle together. It's the method that Mr. Shamspare has been using to steal the gas that's the missing link. And now, if I follow the chain of thought, it's going to bring me to a new explanation for what happened that nobody's considered yet. But this is all nonsense. If the man had been making fake coins, my worker here would have found them when he emptied the meter. Quite true, Lady Altamont. In the absence of some black magic that could make them disappear. What if it was beeswax? Maybe it's sealed with beeswax? I see. That's what we're dealing with, is it? There is one form of black magic that could cause the fake coins to disappear into thin air, yes. Exactly. And the meter here gives it away. What on earth? There are remnants of the magical method used visible on the gas meter taken from the victim's room. If that is your assertion, counsel, the defense will identify these remnants for the court at once. Alright. Where on the meter can the remnants of the method used to make the fake coins disappear be seen? Alright, is it the bottom here? Let's examine this. I mean, I guess, is it gonna be here? I assume so. Where else would it be? Because that's the beeswax seal. I'm gonna go with the hole. I might be wrong, but we're gonna see.
Got it!
We found this bar of soap at the scene of the crime, just outside the victim's window. Outside? Yes, outside, where you yourself, Mr. Meterman, were loitering in the freezing winter air. That's where we found this soap. I get it. That's right. The answer, of course, is ice. Oh, ice. Okay, okay. Yeah, okay, because then it would come out as water. That makes sense. Did you just say ice? Mr. Shamspare has been leaving soaps like this outside his window each evening filled with water. After a night outside in the bitter cold, the water is completely frozen solid the next morning. And then he takes his fake coins of ice and feeds them into the gas meter, giving him light and warmth in spades. As his room becomes very comfortably warm, the ice now inside the meter's coin box melts, turning back into water and draining harmlessly away through the small hole made in the underside of the meter. That is how, without leaving any evidence of his wrongdoing, this man has been stealing Altamont gas. Everyone's shocked. Just like that, so simply. Is he trying to make us look like idiots?
He's been fooling us all with some bars of soap and some water?
That's right, madam.
I don't believe it. It can't be true. Do you have any idea how much money we spent to develop that new meter? And now you have the audacity to suggest that a bit of soap and some water can render it totally useless?
I'm fairly sure I didn't design it.
Evidence!
Sorry?
I want evidence. If you're going to stand there and tell me our meters are rubbish, I want to see proof.
She's very good at enforcing accountability, isn't she? Right. Very well, Lady Altamont. If you'd like evidence, I'll provide it.
What? Mr. Naruto, are you saying you do actually have evidence to support this theory?
I did notice a trace of something that bothered me a little at the time. And I have a feeling that this theory we've come up with could now explain it. The piece of evidence that substantiates the theory about how Mr. Shamspare has been stealing gas is... Let me look at this again. Let me examine this. It has this. We examined that. Let me see what it says again. This must be the cup that Mr. Shamspare was drinking from then. It's stained on the inside.
Tea does that, I'm afraid, even green tea.
Really? I've never noticed before.
You've never noticed?
Well, I never leave it in the cup long enough to leave a mark. I like to gulp it down. Drink tea while it's hot. That's the Japanese way, isn't it?
Oh dear. So many people have the wrong idea about our culture, and most of them are Japanese.
I wonder if it could be that. But let's look at the evidence a little bit more just to make sure. Okay, so this was the receipt. This is the street map. Alright. We have this. I don't know how this is relevant to anything, but okay. Let's look at this. This. Okay, it's got the water under it. Okay. Let's present the picture.
Take that!
This is a photograph of the scene at the point when the victim was discovered, taken by Inspector Gregson. And it clearly shows the remnants of the crime carried out by Mr. Shamspare.
What remnants?
Here you can see the gas meter on the wall in Mr. Shamspare's room. Now, look closely at the floorboards directly underneath the meter.
What is that? Some kind of grubby stain?
Almost certainly. It's a water stain resulting from the liquid drained out of the hole made in the meter. If one coin gives around 2 hours of gas usage, and the occupant was heating his room in all his waking hours, we can imagine he would have used around 10 of his fake coins each day. The melting ice inside the meter's coin box would have been dripping out almost constantly, leaving a stain on the floor.
This is awful.
And there's further evidence too. Mr. Shamspare is slumped over his table, apparently having consumed strychnine. And right there next to him is a bar of soap broken in half.
You're right.
It would appear to me then, Counsel, that the man was eating the soap, was he?
Pardon me for disagreeing with your lordship, but certainly not.
He didn't beat about the bush there, did he? In truth, Mr. Shamspare was found with a fork in his hand.
A meal of soap is sounding increasingly likely, Lord Menzies. Do you mean to say he was using that fork to...
Yes. To extract a frozen coin from the bar of soap.
Ah! But the bar broke in half. So perhaps it didn't go very well.
Good gracious! They both look like bees. I just realized that. Uh-oh. What are you gonna object to now? Lord Van Zeeks?
I was throwing my hand up in despair, and happened to catch my hallowed bottle on the way. Pray forgive my melodramatic mistake.
What is the meaning of this, counsel?
Allow me to pose my learned friend a question. What exactly did you establish with your most recent cross-examination?
Well?
That Mr. William Shamspeare is a liar and a thief. In other words, that his testimony is unreliable.
That's it. That's exactly it.
Very well, let us assume the man is a liar. Now allow me to pose another question. What possible difference does that make?
Well, he's the only one accusing Sasaki, right?
We know that suicide can be discounted. Scotland Yard's investigation revealed no sign of another vessel that contained poison. And on the night in question, there were no visitors to the room except the accused. The young gasman's testimony, which we have no reason to doubt, has confirmed that. Furthermore, the only possible way the poison could have entered the victim's body is via the tea. That's not necessarily true. The court has seen no evidence whatsoever to suggest otherwise. Even if William Shamspeare is the liar you claim him to be, these facts have been objectively established. There's no escaping it.
Ugh.
Therefore, in light of these facts, the prosecution calls for immediate adjudication.
You... What? Order! Order! Well, counsel, how does the defense respond?
Mr. Naruhodo!
What was the point of that last cross-examination? Did it actually get us anywhere? Or did it make no difference at all, like Lord Manzeeks is saying? Let's raise an objection. No, this isn't over. The defense will not rest.
What?
Counsel, you've successfully explained everything. You've identified and substantiated the unscrupulous method employed by Mr. Shamspeare to consume gas. What more is there to discuss? Lord Manzeeks just highlighted 3 facts in order to make his point. But contrary to what he would have the court believe, not all of them have been objectively established at all.
What are you trying to say, my Nipponese friend?
At least one of those so-called facts is an assumption made due to a lack of evidence. We don't know that he consumed the poison through tea. But the situation has changed now following the cross-examination of the latest witness to take the stand.
Don't be absurd. What is this nonsense?
Yes, when you bring everything we've learned so far together and consider it as a whole, it's clear. There's no question that we now need to reconsider, mainly, was someone else responsible? Was there another visitor? Was the poison in the tea? I think it's got to be, was the poison in the tea? But it could also be, was someone else responsible? They're going to say nobody else came in because the gas man said no one else came in. So I would say it's either was the poison in the tea or was someone else responsible. I'm not sure. This one might get us a strike, but I'm going to go with this. We've all been led to believe that the strychnine poison that affected Mr. Shamspeare was in the tea brought to him by Mr. Natsumi. But that's conjecture at best.
Objection!
The victim has testified that nothing else passed his lips that night. There's no other possibility. And since there was no trace of tea left at the scene, it couldn't be tested for traces of the poison.
Objection!
As I said, the situation has changed, because in fact, some of Mr. Natsumi's tea was left at the scene. Oh, it's in the soap, the second bar of soap, and a particular piece of evidence proves it.
Objection!
A ludicrous claim. Scotland Yard detectives investigated the scene exhaustively. What evidence are you suggesting they missed? The defense has made a bold claim indeed. Very well, counsel, present your proof. What evidence from the scene of the crime can tell us about the nature of the defendant's tea? It's got to be the soap, right? Let's try the soap.
Take that!
Good gracious! The soap again? The same bar the victim used to fashion his coins of ice? Yes, that's right, my lord. It's just come back to me. Something about when we first found this bar of soap at the scene yesterday. Yeah, it was red, just like the ring of tea in the teacup. He saved it so he could make his coins. It's more bars of soap. Soap? What are bars of soap doing lined up on the ledge outside the window? I'm quite certain that when we originally stumbled upon the bars of soap, there was actually a frozen coin in each bar. So you discovered the gas thief's coin factory. Fascinating. In a way, yes, but there's more. The coins we found in the soap at the time weren't normal ice. There was something strange about them, you mean? Exactly, something very obviously strange. They were red. The ice was red? No, you mean... That's right. It's obvious to me now. The fake coins in the soap were made from frozen tea. What? I would remind the court of a statement made by Mr. Natsumi earlier in this trial. That evening, yes, I did take some freshly brewed tea with me when I visited Mr. Shamspeare's room as a gift. The public water pump outside always freezes at night, so I bought bottled water especially to make it. And this is the result. Never will I touch tea again. Never. Ah, yes, I believe there had been a snowfall that day. It was particularly cold. Sadly, on such occasions, the poorly constructed water mains on the east end are prone to freezing. So on the night in question, Mr. Shamspeare, having no running water to use, was forced to use the tea brought by Mr. Natsumi in order to make his fake coins. My word. Now, it's gonna really suck if they test the tea and it has strychnine in it. There were 2 bars of soap on the window ledge when my judicial assistant and I investigated the scene. That's right, and we only borrowed one of them. Which means that even as we speak, some of the defendant's tea is still present at the scene of the crime. Frozen solid in a bar of soap outside Mr. Shamspeare's window. Extraordinary! Earlier today, Inspector Gregson informed the court that if even 1 drop of tea remained, Scotland Yard would be able to analyze it for poison. As such, we are now in a position to prove or disprove what has until now been mere conjecture. By finding out for sure whether or not Mr. Natsumi's tea actually contains strychnine at all. Ah, you smug Nipponese. My lord, we cannot do the defendant the injustice of passing judgment now. The police should be dispatched to recover the remaining bar of soap from the scene at once, and the defense requests a thorough analysis of the frozen tea embedded in it to determine whether or not it contains any poison. Oh boy.
Bailiff, bailiff! Instruct the police to attend to the scene at once. Yes, my lord. Understood. Oh boy. So I guess we'll end up seeing what happens. It would seem we have no choice but to suspend these proceedings for the time being. I trust you have no objection, Lord Van Zeeks? None, my lord. Scotland Yard will recover the tea from the scene and carry out the requisite tests immediately. The trial will resume at the same hour tomorrow. The prosecution and defense may conduct further investigations as appropriate in the interim. Yes, my lord. Oh boy. Whew. We've made it this far. Well, we managed to scrape through there somehow. Thank you, counsels. Court is adjourned until tomorrow. Oh boy. Man, that was a wild ride for real. To be continued. Well, I hope I am very curious to see how that is going to play out. Like, I just bet, knowing this game, I suspect that they're going to test it and it's going to come back and the strychnine is in fact in the tea, and then we're still going to have to prove that somehow it wasn't, it wasn't Sasaki-san. So this is going to be all kinds of crazy coming up. I'm sure it's not over. We still have this broken envelope piece to figure out what that's all about. So I hope that you guys are looking forward to the next part as much as I am. And if you like this kind of content, please make sure to like, subscribe, follow, share, all that good stuff. If you want to watch live, we're on Twitch at twitch.tv/LeR27. I my schedule posted in the about and in the description. And if you want to see which games we're playing each day, I post them on x.com/LeR27. And I hope you'll join me in the next one. Until then, guys, bye.